You can see I've got my virtual MIDI piano keyboard up here. It's very handy because when you play a key, it lights up, so you can see which note you're actually playing. So you can see on the keys, it's written letters of the alphabet, starting with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And when it gets around to the A again, it repeats the cycle, and this is what we call an octave. It's the same note, it sounds the same, it's just this one is a higher pitch than this one. So that's an octave. We also have a name for the relationship between the notes. Now you can see that there are also some black notes here. And these are called sharps or flats, or in musical terminology, sometimes accidentals. Basically, when we have one note here and one note here, this distance is called a semitone. If we go up again, this is called a tone. So this is called a semitone, and this is called a tone. So if we go from this D to here, that's called a semitone. If we go from here to here, it's called a tone. When we look at the black notes, when a black note is a semitone above a white note, we call it a sharp. So this is C sharp, this is C, and this is C sharp. If we go to F, for example, we've got F, we sometimes call it F natural, F, and then we go one semitone above, and it's called F sharp. Now, one thing that's not actually written on this virtual MIDI keyboard are flats. That basically means if we were looking at these black notes and we wanted to go down one, so we say, for example, we had this B and we went down a semitone, we could then call this B flat because it's going down one semitone. So this A sharp can also be called B flat, this G sharp could also be called A flat, this F sharp could also be called G flat, this D sharp could also be called E flat, and this C sharp can also be called D flat. Hope that's not too confusing. So, although this note here is called an A, we often think the most important note on piano is a middle C. If we play a scale of C, and we'll talk about scales a bit later, the scale of C major has all the white notes in it, so we don't have to worry about any of the black notes. So we tend to think of C as the simplest scale or key, and is normally the one we learn first. So it's good to remember that C is an important note, and we can also use it to kind of navigate our way around the keyboard. We can hopefully always look to identify this middle C. We basically do that by looking at the black notes and seeing that there's a group of 2 here and a group of 3 here. So this middle C is always just before these 2 black notes here. So I hope that helps. If you can, just try to play around with this virtual MIDI keyboard and try to remember the notes as well by kind of turning it off and trying to practice on your own keyboard.